Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host Dakota, and unfortunately it is another solo show today. Jordan is still working his day job, I'm still working my night job, so our schedules aren't lined up for this one. And this one is a little bit more time sensitive, so we couldn't wait around for our schedules to line up. I think Jordan's got a solo show coming soon. I'm not sure what he was planning on. But anyway, today we are talking about Mythic Legions, and we just got the email/post, I believe Monday, was it? So All Stars voting is coming this upcoming Friday, May 5th. So I'll kind of read some of the information that's on the website here, and then we'll talk about some of the options that we can vote for. So sounds similar to years past. This is going to be the first year that I'm able to vote in this because I've only been into Mythic Legions for, has it been a year yet? I don't know. Feels like it's been forever, but at the same time, I feel like I just started. But with the amount of figures I have, I hope that it's been a little bit of time. But anyway, so let's see here. There is going to be 20 contenders for the Mythic Legions All Stars. And then just kind of as a refresher, these All Stars are figures that have been put out before, but it's been several years. So usually these are figures that are a little bit harder to find in the aftermarket. They're a little bit more expensive. So this gives new collectors like myself the chance to get these at the same price as like the Four Horsemen offer their stuff. So presumably around that like $35 mark. So a lot of these are going to be in that $100 mark. Some are clear up into $300, $400, $500. So a lot of these are going to be pretty popular, I think. But anyway, back into the reading here. So there's going to be 20 contenders. We are going to have the opportunity to vote for 3, our favorite 3. And then they're going to compile all of our votes. And then the top 3 overall are going to be what get put into the All-Stars 6+ wave. And then on top of that, this is going to be the first time they've ever done this, is they're going to have an All Star Alumni. So these are figures that have previously been All Stars. Usually once you're an All Star, you're done. But these All Stars options they were offered like a long time ago, several years, a long time ago, you know. But again, these are still some of those like hard to find, super expensive ones. You're going to have the option to vote for your favorite one, and then they'll compile the votes. And then the top vote is going to be the All Star Alumni. So we're going to get a total of 4 All Stars in this upcoming All Stars 6+ wave. The voting, like I said, is going to start this Friday, May 5th. It's going to run for 1 week, so it'll end on the 12th. And then on June 2nd, Friday, June 2nd, is going to be the live reveal of which top 4 are going to be put into the All-Stars wave, along with what new figures, because if we remember back at G-Con, they had mentioned that Necronominus wasn't done, and they're going to be continuing Necronominus into this 6+ wave. So we're going to get to see which All-Stars have won the vote and get to see some brand new figures that we've never seen before. So now let's get into what our options are. So like I said, there's 20 options. I'll put the photo up on screen. If you're listening on audio like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, you can pretty much go in the Cabal. You're going to see this picture posted at least 20 times a day with people saying which ones they're going to be voting for. You can also see this on sourcehorseman.com or on their Facebook page as well, the Four Horsemen. So I'll kind of go row by row, and I'll kind of give you some of my opinions on the figures, and you'll have to forgive me if I say any of the names wrong, because as we all know with Mythic Legions, it is sometimes hard to pronounce these mythical names. So our first, also I'm going to be using a picture that was, I'll try to find the credits for it. Somebody in the Cabal made a list with the names on it, along with when these came out. So then you can kind of know how old these figures are. So we've got As a Spirit Bender. This is a blue 2.0 female. Came out in the Advent of Decay. I don't know too much about this one, but I've seen a few Cabalers being pretty excited about her. She is pretty unique. Not too many figures look like her, so I know a lot of people are wanting some more of that fodder for 2.0 figures. Then we get into Balam. This is the Jaguar with the purple armor. Pretty popular figure, I think. This also came out in the Advent of Decay. This one, I think I've seen quite a few people wanting, but I've also seen tons of people posting when they get him over the past several months. So I don't think he's crazy expensive. I know he's $100 plus, but I think he seems readily available. You can still get him pretty easily. You just kind of have to pay a little bit more. I will say he is in my top 5 of characters I want to vote for here. I think the armor looks cool, and I'm a sucker for the Jaguelian crew. So I've got at least the black Jaguar from the Heads pack, and then the red from the Furious 4. So I would love to add another one to that. Then we've got Belphegor. He came in Arethyr, which isn't too old of a wave. So I was kind of surprised to see him on here. He's one that I see in the groups pretty regularly, and he sells for about $70-ish, or it's not uncommon to find him for that price. I've gotten, I think, 2 of him. He's super good, especially with the Furious 4. There's a lot of red type characters that we can use parts for him. So that's why I really like him. But again, he's not super expensive, so he's not going to be getting my vote just because I can get him, more expensive than retail, but not too bad. Then we get into Boreer. This guy's pretty unique. He's the only boar type character in all of Mythic Legions right now, at least. He was in Advent of Decay. I haven't had him before, but he seems a little bit more rare, but still I see some people with him. Getting into that smaller scale now. I believe he's in the dwarf scale. Then we get into Borthar Shadowhorn. He is pretty cool. I like his armor. When I was showing these to my wife, she was like, oh no, you don't need him. You need the next guy I'm going to mention, because you've got Iligar has the same beard as him, but she wants me to get somebody with a different beard. So I understand that thought process, but I do like his armor. It looks pretty cool. He came out in Mythic Legions 1.0, so that's a pretty old wave. Then we get into Brodaman Ironjaw. And this is a dwarf that, like I was saying, he's got a different style beard, so that's one of my wife's picks. If she was going to be voting, she would vote for him. He comes with quite a bit of stuff. He's got alternate heads. I don't have any dwarfs. I mean, I have Varg, but I don't know if that really counts as a dwarf. He's in that kind of scale, but I would love to get this as a dwarf. I'm not sure if he's going to get my vote, but if he did win, I would still be very happy. Then we get Calavan. He was in Mythic Legions 1.0. This one I don't know if I've ever seen for sale in the group. It's definitely possible he could have been for sale, but I would expect he's one of the more pricey ones. He came out in Mythic Legions 1.0. This is a red skeleton. I know Jordan is going to be voting for him. He loves his skeletons, so he's got at least Jordan's vote, and he's also high on my list of characters I want to vote for. Then we get into Faustia. She came out in Siege of Bonagar. I don't know how to say that one, but she's again in the 2.0 scale, kind of a black, red, gold female knight. She's not crazy expensive right now. I think she's around about 100 to 120-ish, maybe, if she's in the box. She's high on my list. Unfortunately, I don't think she's going to get a lot of votes. I have seen some people campaigning for her, so she'll get some votes. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to get her, because I would like to have this figure. She's pretty high on my list of ones that I'd like to get, but also my list of things that I want to get are things that are actually obtainable. I don't have anything that's over $150 really on my list. I'd like to get a troll that's over, but that's also a different scale. So anyway, I would like to get her. She comes with a mace. Like I've said before, my coaching business focuses on steel mace, so I would love to have another mace-wielding Mythic Legion in my collection. Then we get into Freya of Deadhall. She came out in Advent of Decay. She kind of looks more like a Viking 2.0 scale female. I will say this one's probably towards the bottom of my list of figures that I would want to get. I still might get her if she is in All Stars, but she would actually probably be one of the very few that I would pass on if she was one of the winners. Then we get into Sir Galeron, Mythic Legions 1.0, so another older figure. It's kind of like a golder armor, kind of in the Templar kind of theme. I would like to get him kind of not, I don't know, he's not in my top contenders, but he is somebody that I would like, but he's very like single colored. I'd have to do a little bit more. Like, I'd like to see some people like maybe do some armor swaps with him, because I'm sure he would be really good for customs, just doing pop and swaps. But as he is right now, he's not going to have like that pop like some of these other ones, although he is pretty unique. Nobody else has that color in my collection, so maybe I'd have to get him. Then we get into Gorthok. He came in Covenant of Shadows. This is like a splotchy purple, like dark purple black orc. I've seen him. He goes pretty expensive as well. This is one that I really don't have a ton or even any interest in. I kind of like the color of his armor, but like the style of orc that he is doesn't really excite me as much, which is good because like I don't want to love every single one of these figures in here. So, but he is on the pricier side, so I could see him having a pretty real potential of being one of the selected winners here. Then we get into Grisha the Slitherer. What? I don't know how to say their name, but they came out in Advent of Decay. This is one that is towards the top of my list. I'm not sure if this will get my vote, but I like the uniqueness, and I think there's quite a bit of maybe weapons or accessories that come along with it. Yeah, again, it's a 2.0 body, so I know people are wanting 2.0 bodies here. But yeah, I don't have anything that looks like this, so that makes me want it more. Then we get into Lord Veterless. It came out in Soul Spiller. I actually had this one. I never opened him up, just because it wasn't. I mean, he was going for I think a little over 100 or maybe 100. And since I didn't like love him, I didn't want to keep him. I'd rather trade for something else. I can't remember what I got, but I got something else that I did want. I do like the armor here. If he was chosen, I'm probably not going to vote for him, but if he wins, I probably would pick him up because he looks cool. And for, that Mythic Legion, like 4 horseman price, I would like him a lot more than the secondary market of 100, because he is pretty cool. Then we get into Magnus. And I know some people like have Magnus as like in their top 5 all-time Mythic Legions, or at least maybe he's the number 1 in that faction. He came out in Arethyr, so somewhat newer-ish. But I think people really like the like head sculpt of him. He's got the beard, kind of gold armor. He's another one that's probably not going to get my vote, but I wouldn't be upset to add him to my collection. And then we get into King Noglin, who came out in Advent of Decay. This is one that I've seen people campaigning for pretty hard. They love King Noglin, and they just want more goblins. So I understand that because there's not a ton of goblins that you can get. For me, the goblins might be my least favorite race, although they're super fun. It's just, I don't know. He's cool, but I don't even know if I would get him if he wins. Maybe I would. I don't know. He's kind of on the fence for me. Definitely not going to get my vote, because he is kind of a cool goblin, very unique goblin for sure. Then we get into Thalen Frostbow, came out in Soul Spiller. She comes with a ton of accessories. She's got alternate heads, lots of weapons, like a soft good fur cape. So she's pretty cool. Again, probably not going to vote for her, but I would pick her up if she was one of the All Stars that was chosen. Kind of that like lighter blue, looks like she would be like traveling through like a winter forest, kind of a stealth hunter. Then we get into Thwink, who is also a goblin. Came out in Siege of Anyway, whatever that word is. He came out then. Another goblin. He's got kind of more of the like curled horns on his helmet. Again, not a huge goblin fan for me. I would probably totally pass on him if he was in the wave, which is probably good because I need to pass on some of these. I can't be doing an all-in again. But maybe I should. I don't know. We'll see what comes out. But yeah, another troll. Or not troll. Goblin. So again, some people are campaigning pretty hard for the goblins. Then we get into Aruku. He came out in Mythic Legions 1.0. So I know he's fairly expensive, but I don't really see a reason to vote for him because we're just now getting the, the War of the Aether Blade builder packs. So we've got the orc there that I think is pretty good. So I don't necessarily want to waste a vote getting something that's so similar to what we just got. So for me, that's why I wouldn't vote for him, but you're all welcome to do what you want to do. Then we've got the Vampire Knight, came out in Advent of Decay. This one I haven't seen too often in the groups, so I could see, and a Vampire Knight is a little bit more on the Legion Builder side, or not Legion Builder, but like Army Builder side, and you could probably use the alternate head that came in the recent 5-pack. For me, vampires might be even lower on my list than goblins. Just because I have Varg and I really like him, but I don't really feel like I need any more vampires. But again, if you do want some more vampires, that would be a good one to army build. Then we get Vorthog, came out in Erethyr. It's a little bit more armored up orc. Again, for him, it's another kind of orc that I feel like I don't need because we've got the recent figures that just came out. So not really necessary to me. I can understand people love their orcs. They want to get some more. Sure. And I think he's also pretty expensive, I think. I don't know. I don't see him very often. So kind of hard to tell. Then, so that's all of your, you get 3 of those votes. All of those figures I just mentioned, you pick 3. And then we're going to get 3 of those as our All-Stars. Now we get into the All Stars Alumni. So these, again, are figures that have been in All Stars before, and they're back around for a round 2 because they're a little bit more expensive. So our first option is Asterion. He first came out in Mythic Legions 1.0, which was in 2015, and then he was a part of All Stars 1, which was a year later in 2016. So it's been several years since we've had the opportunity to get him. I've seen him sold in the groups a couple times. I didn't think he was crazy expensive, but he is kind of one of those figures that you don't see very often at all. I like the Minotaurs. I don't know. He's definitely... I would be happy to get him. He's one that I would for sure pick up if he wins. Then there's... I should probably try to say these names before I record. Capithius? Probably not, but something like that. Came out in Mythic Legions 1.0. Again, that was 2015. And then came out again in All Stars 2, which was 2018. So still quite a while ago. Another Vampire Knight. Again, like I said, not a huge vampire fan myself, but the armor is pretty cool. I might pick him up if he was to win the alumni vote. I feel like he's probably got the least chance to win the alumni vote just because some of these other ones I've seen people campaigning for a lot harder, and I've seen only a few people really interested in him. Then we get into Sir Ignatius. He came out in 1.0 and All Stars 1, so again, that's 2015, 2016. He, I think, has the better chance. He's, if I had to put money on it, I think he's the one that's going to win. Because I think with this being kind of a part of that Necronominous, Erethyr type of vibe that we're getting with these waves, people have been saying that they really want to pose him with their Sir Uzjak, with their Sir Gideon's Heavens brand, with Bishop. He fits that aesthetic really well. and he's got pretty unique armor. The colors are, I would assume, kind of hard to replicate. So that's where I think he has a super good chance of being the winner here. And then last up, we've got Pixis, who came out in Mythic Legions 1.5 and All Stars 2. So that's 2016 and 2018. So this is the blue Spartan looking skeleton that, I don't know, this one is, I'm so torn between Sir Ignatius, Pixis, and Asterion. I feel like I want a Minotaur, but then at the same time, I really like my Torian and then Praetorian. But then should I just have Asterion to go with him? Because I'm not going to pick him up otherwise. But I do think that I would have to agree with most people that Sir Ignatius is probably going to be the coolest one to display with the rest of your Order of Arethyr. But then Pixis is a skeleton, so probably going to get Jordan's vote. And I really like that blue color for the Spartan. It's a hard one, but I think, all right, if you were going to tell me I have to pick my 3 All-Stars and my 1 Alumni vote right now, I think what I would want in my collection today, I would choose Balaam, Faustia, and I'm going to go with, I would say Ironjaw. But it's a toss-up between Ironjaw and Grishaw, or however you say that name. But for sure, I want Balaam and I want Faustia. I don't think Faustia is going to win. I could see Balaam winning. I see a lot of people wanting him. I think Ironjaw's got a decent shot. I haven't seen a lot of people wanting Grishaw. Anyway, those would be my 3 for the regular All-Stars. And then for the Alumni, I would probably go, again, it's a toss-up, but right now I'm feeling Sir Ignatius. So those are my 4 votes. Again, voting is going to start on the 5th, so that's this upcoming Friday, and it's going to run for a week. And then we're going to figure out who the winners are on June 2nd. So I don't know. You can go through Source Horseman, look through everything that they would come with. It'll show you like what weapons, what accessories, alternate heads, soft goods, all that stuff. Some of these guys do come with quite a bit of stuff. Some are a little bit more bare bones, but I think that's some of those older figures that are more expensive. So it's kind of that toss up of like, do you want a lot of stuff or do you want something that's maybe out of reach right now because it's $300, $400, $500? So I would love to know what you guys are going to be voting for. Let me know in the comments. Is there anything I missed out on that I should have mentioned? I'm going to be voting right away. They did say that they've never maxed out their amount of votes that they can take in, but with the growing of the community, it is possible that they have so many votes that they have to close voting at a certain time. So you probably do want to vote a little bit early just to make sure that you're in there. I don't know what SurveyMonkey can handle as far as voting goes. But I would assume we could all be able to vote for what we want. But just to be safe, I would get in there early, get it done, and have your votes in. So we don't have to wait too long, which is nice. Less than, or just over a month from now, we're going to have all of our answers here. And we'll be back for another episode talking about who the winners are and what the new figures from the Necronominus wave are going to be. So leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And until next time, stay strong.